And because of your personality and because of what you stand for, this meeting is also to thank you for the role you played in our election. Because you played a neutral role, allowing journalists to conduct the election. And I knew that was also a discussion with the governor for journalists to be allowed to do the election, to solicit for level playing ground, and you granted that. It shows that this government has a listening ear. Ordinarily, some other places, the appeal may not hold water, and we may be singing a discordant tune by now. But since the appeal held water, and we are here to tell you that, as we stated earlier, that we have nothing at stake as fighting any battle. Where there's no battle we are fighting, but for the good of the state. Whatever we are doing is for the good of the state. And if the governor is doing everything to make the state work, we shall be doing everything to support the government to make the state work. If the government wasn't listening, this issue of Okite, this issue of crime wouldn't be tackled headlong. But the government used everything within its disposal to tackle the issue of insecurity, and people are rejoicing. We want to commend the government on that, and we want to ask the government to continue to be listening to its subjects, because it's through listening that you will be able to know this is going wrong, you correct it for the good of society. Government is for the good of the society. And with you having stayed long enough in government, in and out of government, I watch you when you go to events. I watch you when you go to occasions. You are detached from the paraphernalia of office. You are just you, mingling with people. No police. I think I've seen you more than 30 times in the event. There's no police following you. You're just going on your own, being yourself, doing things the way you're supposed to do. Yes, we know that some officers are supposed to be following by security, but some people can decide not to and do their thing. So we want to commend you, and want to ask you that you should tell the governor that this brand new NUJ has come to partner with its activities. Yes, sometimes there is what people call how do they call it? Impression. People may have impression about someone, or people may conclude perception conclude on somebody's. But sometimes coming closer to the person may uncover a lot of other things. I know the chairman Emeka Odogwu, troublemaker to this one, the other one. But then troublemaker is only when it is need for trouble. But there's no need for trouble now. And if there's no need for trouble, we should all jolly together. Sure. And we request from the government, they should not be jolly together alone. No. They should carry us along, so that when we walk, we see the outcome of our work. And we can't be working in isolation, can we? No. We shouldn't be working in isolation. Or in the last 3 years, we supported this government. Two of us, we supported this government. Unfortunately, we didn't get this support. But with you now, we shall get all our requests.
Hallelujah.
So we are thanking you for the support and solidarity. We are praying God to ensure that the peace we are enjoying now in the state is sustained. And we are asking all those whose responsibility is to support government to actualize the issue of insecurity to do their best and not to attend the effort of the government. Because you know, people are the one working, doing this. If they misbehave, it's government that everybody will be calling on. So these are other things why we are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So no matter what comes your way through destiny, you know, it's a challenge for you to learn. So why do you want to control who will be the person that you interact with? Let nature throw the person up. Whoever he is or she is, you will learn to deal with the person. That's the lesson you're learning for somewhere you're going to. We don't know where, you know, in future. So for me, I've always believed that honorable, and of course I know you. I know you're a tough guy, but I feel that you're tough with principles also. So, I mean, for me, that was my belief, that if you end up being the leader of the pack, there's still somebody who's responsible. We are passionate about Anambra. I know those who are passionate about Anambra, who are passionate about development. And that's what Mr. Governor also represents. He is passionate. And he spends all his time working. And that kind of brings misunderstandings. Because he spends his time working and managing things and not being able to interact socially, people will tend to look at him as he's arrogant or he's not associating with them. But what he was elected to do was to serve the people, and that service is what he's going to do. So I commend you, and I trust that we'll work together. I also thank you for assuring us that we'll work together. Emma, we're all public servants. You have a role you play to the society. Very, very key role. Information is very key. Information is power. And yes, all my political life, in about 32 years, 33 years, I've always believed in journalists. And by 2006, I said to a bunch of them that Obama was made by the press. Obama was a product of the press. Nobody really knew him in America. Yeah, he was a good orator, but that was all. It was the press that packaged him. And so the press is always very, very key in determining anything. So it's something we have to do a lot of work. What Mr. Governor has set up to achieve is to give a new narrative to Anambra. And like I said to somebody this morning, all you need to see to know whether Anambra has transformed, just step out of Anambra, go to Asaba, and come back into Anambra from Asaba. Then only have the impact of that distinct. You know? And I remember that by 2021, it was the reverse. If you left Anambra into Asaba, it was like you're going from hell to heaven. Asaba was clean, street lights. Anambra was dark in the night, full of potholes and heaps or mountains of refuse. But today,
It's gone.
it's the reverse. Interestingly, Asaba now is full heaps of refuse. No street lights. The ambience is zero. But you come into Anambra, you see it. It's clean, it's order. You know, so one thing is that he can't achieve these things and do more without the support of the journalists, the media. And I will tell you that this government appreciates the fact of what people have been doing.
Thank you, sir.
Doesn't mean that I appreciate. You know, the fact that you can say, thank God for this person. Thank you for helping me. It's a lot, it's worth a lot. So the governor continues to appreciate what you people have been able to do. And what he can only say is that he keeps saying is, we need to do more. We need to all work extra hard. The collaboration between the state government and your NUJ is what I'm looking forward to. Because it's something that will take us to a new level. Because I am explaining a lot of things, but we need to communicate. In security law and order, you know, people tend to say, oh, people are just waking up after 3 years on security. It's not true. That is not the truth. Because we know that guy want to make campaign, all the political parties, first and foremost, they attempted to kidnap him or kill him in his house.
Yes.
And when we were doing campaign, it was like no party was spared. We were all hiding in bulletproof cars and limiting our places. Eje campaign, police are everywhere. Ana banara, muanayo, sibara pugurukandi apwa first. Because once we leave, the people are at the mercy of kidnappers and bandits. Because they're all wearing uniform. So even wine and milk before you t-shirts. Ana banara copy, you go up and under. They copy the you couldn't move around. Honorable Chris as well. his driver was killed in broad daylight. You know? So these things were there. And what we had was some level of criminality that was around people who were using this garb of liberation, going with our non-gunmen. And when the governor came, that was the first task he did. If you recollect, because we tend to forget a lot, a man of God in this state, seen on a prophecy, prophesied that he saw blood spill in government house and people were running helter-skelter. And a governor, some governors will cringe, asking him, please, come and pray, can you get to solve it? He said first and foremost that he was irresponsible in saying it. Because if he did see that, he could have communicated it to him privately. Mm-hmm. Because saying it publicly is a way of encouraging the hoodlums and emboldening them. And he called him and said that if I have been careful, I'm not here. And he went on, had a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu. After that, he came back and said, listen, because said, these are not my people. IPOB is not there. And he said, okay, you guys, anybody who see in the bush after this period is a terrorist. I remember then the former president Buhari was not ready to cooperate. The military were not involved, unlike they are now. And it was a strike force of 250 persons that Mr. Governor assembled that went into the forest to flush out these people with the police behind them. And a lot of their camps were destroyed. For that means even like ambush, they were in the fringes. Osumobu, the last area of Yala, and of course Obunka and the rest of Uruba South. And Obaru, when they will run across the river to Delta. Then the next criminality evolved. We now saw cultism, killings. We now saw kidnappings in the urban area. And while people were thinking that these kidnappings were coming from the unknown gunmen, government was being to record and track these things without talking publicly. We don't see no prosy India, no younger boys, because the people that were in the bushes were middle-aged men, persons in their 40s, 30s. But we noticed that the new kidnappings were people who were 20s. So government began in the apprehension of these people, started discovering that there was a new pattern, that these people lived within us. I remember that insecurity had not started today, all the way from the military era till now. Again, they have to bring in Bakassi. So what Mr. Governor said was, listen, we have to do something that is sustainable. Let us go to the root of the cause of this criminality. Otherwise, every administration will come, do his own, fire brigade and go and come. That was why systematically over 9 months, government assembled the team, looked at the whole laws and said, let's deal with these things. Because we discovered that many of them were either on drugs, who were apprehended, or had all these amulets around them. So now, so we discovered that they were being led in confidence by some people. That was why that law now came out. To say we recognize this traditional religion and this freedom of worship, but you cannot, your freedom stops where another person's freedom starts. You cannot do things that will create crime and criminality and make it thrive in the society under the guise of religion in whatsoever, whether Christian or traditional. And that was why the House of Assembly said that law. So when they say we just started now, it's not now. A lot of criminals, remember the touts when they go to the Ekalafia, Iweka. Yeah. That one has gone. If you come to Anambra now, don't park a motor, nobody's going to come and put a gun near you.
Yes.
And what Mr. Governor has always said is that when the going gets tough, get going. If you keep doing things, then we have to go out of our box to also curb those things. Because the primary responsibility of government is to secure the lives and property of people. So if the law cannot catch you, we'll go outside the law to catch you. So even in a book, I within the law now to give more teeth to the judicial system to be able to catch these people. And thank God that part of correctional center now is no more exclusive to federal government. I mean, so the government is trying because it's not easy when you're not totally in control of security. You know, one, use of firearms is limited to certain categories of persons, and then also the power to investigate is also limited. So oftentimes when you apprehend, you have to give the police to investigate. So whatever is the outcome is dependent on what they're able to achieve. So these are some of the challenges that the state is grappling with, not only Anambra, but I'm sure in other states.